Ruan Xingzhu traveled through time and found herself in a book, becoming the dying white moonlight of the male protagonist, with the same name and surname as her. The male protagonist entered the largest sect in the cultivation world for 3 years but did not have any cultivation. He only found out after seeking help from his master that he had no spiritual roots at all. Unlucky Moonlight, as the only phoenix girl in the Fengchu Mountain of the ancient Cang Continent, sought help from the male protagonist and sacrificed herself against the sky, causing him to grow a spiritual root. She died after just a few words at the beginning, and her body was secretly kept in the ice coffin of Wuwu Peak Forbidden Mountain by the male protagonist. Ruan Xingzhu. Run away decisively, whoever loves to be this unjust seed will be the one. The gears of fate are slowly turning. Let's see how she gradually becomes stronger. The cultivation ranks from low to high in 6 major stages. Bronze, Platinum, Diamond, King of Glory, and Ascension of the Way. Each major stage has 4 sub-stages. Front, Middle, Back, and Great Perfection. Ruan Xingzhu. I am familiar with this rank. P.S. The first book in various meanings, please forgive me, mushroom sauce will be very happy. The female protagonist has a strong personality, is cruel to scumbags, cultivates immortality, and also raises a 9-tailed fox. As a girl, of course, we need to constantly become stronger and more spicy. 1v1 double cleanliness, ancient cultivation world, fictional, the male lead is not the scumbag from the previous life. Keywords of the novel. Early death white moonlight dressed as a male lead with no pop-ups, early death white moonlight dressed as a male lead complete collection download, latest chapter reading of early death white moonlight dressed as a male lead. Chapter 1. Wedge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Wedge in the realm of cultivation, on the mysterious path of the heavens, at the sword peak of the underworld. The white clouds are lingering, and the clear sky stretches for thousands of miles. Summer. The lively crowd, even with heat in the air, occasionally blows a refreshing breeze that seeps into the heart and spleen. The mountain is bustling with people of all shapes and colors, lined up with red lights on their faces. There are women carrying baskets, young girls who have just turned 15, poor people, and rich people, all looking forward. Today is the once-in-a-century day when the Ghost Sword Peak recruits disciples, and it is naturally lively and extraordinary. Who knows that this Xiaoyao sect is the leader in the cultivation world, and it is famous for its netherworld sword technique, so the entrance to recruit disciples is located under the netherworld sword peak. In the chaotic era, monsters roamed freely and the world was restless. A young man with unparalleled martial arts skills emerged from the sky, using his sharp sword intent to repel the monsters and seal them at the fog cliff. Later, he took the name Wuwei and founded a sect named Xiaoyao. 15,000 years ago, Wuwu ancestor achieved enlightenment and became the first person to ascend in the cultivation world. The Xiaoyao sect has strong strength and has remained the top sect in the cultivation world for thousands of years, never being surpassed. The biggest difference between the Xiaoyao sect and other sects is that here, there are no harsh tests. People of any age, regardless of their qualifications, are accepted as long as they are considered qualified. With such a prestigious reputation and simple conditions, there is certainly a constant stream of people who want to join the flaunting faction, and it can even be said that more than 100 years have passed. However, there are very few people who can truly enter after arriving. Why are the conditions so relaxed and there are still so few people who can enter? A handsome young man stood in front of the mountain. He is as tall as jade, with an ink-colored robe. On the chest and shoulders of the robe, there are 3 big characters dancing with dragons and phoenixes, proud faction. On the right sleeve, there is a golden and beautiful small character, Yuming Sword Peak. Fuqiao. Fuqiao is the name of this young man. The young man supporting the bridge was holding a piece of colored glass stone in his hand. This glass-colored stone is extraordinary. It is a divine tool used by the ostentatious faction to test qualifications, named 7 colors, and can detect 7 spiritual roots of gold, wood, water, fire, earth, ice, thunder. The glazed colored stone is a divine tool for testing qualifications left by the ancestor Wuwu. In the past, there were also people who wanted to join the flaunting faction through casual practice. Some could pass the test, while others could not. No matter how the elders study it, they cannot understand why some people, even though they have qualifications, do not shine with colored glass stones. But no matter what, the Wuwu ancestor always has his reasons. The straightness of Fuqiao Station, with a soft and gentle voice, is not loud, but it emits sound through elemental spiritual power, spreading throughout every corner of the mountain. Those who go to pay their respects one by one, put their hands up, and if they can light up the colored glass stone, they can stay and go up the mountain to practice immortal methods. First place. The first one is a girl who weaves fried dough twists braids. She is dressed in coarse linen clothes, white after washing, but clean, and her eyes are clear and bright. The girl couldn't stand 11 or 12. She had been waiting at the foot of the mountain for 4 months before the test started. She timidly wiped her hand against the collar before gently placing it on the stone. The stone slowly emitted a light green halo. Fuqiao Qingjuan's apricot eyes bent down and patted the little girl's shoulder, nodding with satisfaction. The acquired single spiritual root wood element is good for opening and closing. After taking a photo of the little girl's shoulder, a different light flashed in his eyes, and he quickly converged, as if he had never seen a difference in the little girl before. 2 disciples in gray robes walked out from behind Fuqiao and led the little girl up the mountain. The crowd behind exploded and was overjoyed. So skinny and weak little girls have all entered, let alone this young master. I also heard that it's not easy to join this ostentatious faction. At first glance, we have a lot of hope. Second place. How could I practice immortal methods with that dead girl? The girl wearing a rare embroidered silk dress wrinkled her nose, pouted, and reluctantly put her hand on it. The stone gave a slight gray light and then went out. Fuqiao shook his head and said, "You don't have the qualifications, please go back." The girl widened her eyes and shouted in her delicate and sharp voice, "What? That dead girl has even gone in. Why can't I go in, Mississippi? What kind of artifact are you?" Fuqiao Xiu frowned and said, "Miss, be cautious. The colorful artifact has never been wrong." The young girl remained indomitable and shouted, "It must be that it's broken. 3 years ago, the immortal master who passed by my young lady's mansion checked it for me and she clearly said that my young lady is an extremely talented fire spirit root." Fu Qiao lowered his eyes lightly and said, "The ghost sword peak prohibits noise." 2 more disciples came out from behind the Fuqiao bridge and escorted the young girl away. The sharp voice of the young girl left behind, "If you don't leave me, I will make you regret being ostentatious." After half a day of testing, more than 1,000 people were tested one after another, and surprisingly, there was no more qualified person. 10 days have passed quickly, and the recruitment of disciples has also ended. This is the rule of the flaunting faction, no matter how many people there are, only 10 days of testing will be conducted each time. The remaining hundreds of people sighed and went back. I knew I came earlier. Well, if we wait another 100 years, we'll all be old men. Maybe we'll be buried. We can only warn our descendants to prepare earlier. The main peak of the flaunting faction. Wuwu Peak. Headmaster Chenli sat in his position, his resolute face covered with solemnity. How about it? How many disciples did you accept this time? Fuqiao bent over and arched his hand, saying, "Back to the sect leader, a total of 120,000 people were tested this time, and 76 disciples were recruited." Chenli breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing the words and said, "Not bad, not bad. We have quite a large enrollment this year." He took a sip of tea in a worried state. Sigh, if his sect were so magnificent, who would have thought that he could only accept a few dozen people in 100 years. It would be great if our ancestors were still there. The female elder sitting on the side, Yi Feifeng, spoke up and said, "It's really good. It's only 50.2 in 100 years, much more than last year." The elders looked at each other one after another, seeing their worries about the future of their own sect in each other's eyes. Hua Wujia said, "You said we shouldn't end up losing our sect because we couldn't receive disciples." Chenli patted the table and said solemnly, "What are you talking about? Grand Master Wu has prophesied that our sect will have a favored child of the heavenly way this year, the proud son of destiny. Whether our sect can enter a more powerful continent depends on whether this person can lead our sect to fly." Yi Feifeng's mouth twitched and he said, "Master, can you look a bit like a master? The appearance of being taken away for nothing is really unsightly." Hua Wujia spread a fan in front of his mouth with one hand and chuckled, "Don't be so venomous, Miss Xiafire." The crisp voice made Yi Feifeng tremble and roll his big eyes at him. Chen Li looked up at the golden, flaunting, of dragons and phoenixes dancing in the hall. "Anyway, whether our sect can maintain its strong character and take it to the next level depends entirely on this son of the heavenly way." Then his gaze fell on Fu Qiao and he said, "Fu Qiao, why don't you live up to the trust of your ancestor? Maybe you are that person." Listening to these meaningful words, Fu Qiao lowered his eyes and stood quietly, his dark pupils shining brightly. Ambition is in his heart. Kaiwan Spicy, Red Envelope, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Crossing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Crossing Zuancangshan Road, Wuwu Peak, a forbidden area behind the mountain. A slender girl lay in an ice coffin, her eyelashes trembling slightly and she woke up leisurely. Upon closer inspection, I could only see a black scar on my face. I couldn't see my face clearly, but I could barely see the position of my nose, eyes, and lips. In this shimmering valley, it was particularly terrifying. Ruan Xingzhu blinked incredibly slowly, feeling her head in chaos. "Hush, by the way, why is it so cold?" She looked carefully and realized that she was on the ice bed with an ice cube board on top of her head. Ruan Xingzhu. The girl gritted her teeth, exerted force on her slender wrist, pushed the board aside, and sat up. She shook her head and looked at the cave. So, how could she be here? Ruan Xingzhu shook his head, unable to recall what he had been doing in the last second. "Oh, I was just drinking cola while reading the ending of the novel." She thought expressionlessly. "Oh yes. It seems like I choked on the cola." "Just choking on a sip of cola, shouldn't you be abducted?" A figure slowly emerged in front of her, unable to see her face clearly, a blurry mass. "AI. What is this?" She poked curiously, and her figure fluctuated twice, like jelly. "Shadow. Hello, are you the creature I summoned?" "Oh, it's a girl with a soft and delicate voice, it's so cute." Ruan Xingzhu raised his lips and said, "You brought me here." The shadow leaned slightly and said, "Please forgive my impoliteness for taking you to a strange world." She stood up straight again, a bit desolate, "But all I can summon is children from another world." Ruan Xingzhu nodded. "Oh, why are you so sad?" "She's not that unreasonable person, she's so understanding." "Do you need help?" The shadow exaggerated and said, "Yes. I need your help. This is my memory and inheritance, all for you. Please." The shadow is fading away, and its lower body has already lost its fluctuations. "Please help me retrieve my tribe members." Ruan Xingzhu. "It's simple, I promise you." The shadow gently tugged at Ruan Xingzhu's sleeve and it completely dissipated. Ruan Xingzhu. "Wait, hey, is this disappearing? How can she go home then?" It seemed to know what she was thinking, but the remaining voice. "At the moment you help me fulfill my wish, I will naturally send you back. As a reward, I can fulfill one of your wishes then." Oh, there's such a good thing. Ruan Xingzhu's eyes immediately lit up. She wants to become rich, she wants to become a little rich woman. Living in a luxurious mansion is like spending billions of dollars on your hands, living a life where you want to take care of as many male models as you want. This is a reward that one can never get for a lifetime of hard work. Roaming. The stone gate of the cave is slowly moving. Someone has come in. Ruan Xingzhu quickly grabbed the ice board and lay back. She swore that she had never acted so swiftly before. As soon as I closed my eyes, there was a sound of footsteps coming in. The footsteps were light, and the landing was silent, only the sound of sleeves swinging. It seems that a gaze fell on her. Mind him. Ruan Xingzhu closed his eyes and began to digest the memories and inheritance left by the shadow. The background of this world is the cultivation of immortals, and the shadow is the owner of this body, also known as Ruan Xingzhu. As the only female phoenix on Fengchu Mountain on Zuancangshan Road, she was saved by Fuqiao. Wait, Fuqiao. Why does this name sound so familiar? Ruan Xingzhu widened her eyes as she hurriedly finished reading through her memories and exclaimed, as expected. Isn't this the novel she just read? There is indeed an end-line canon fodder with the same name as her, which was only briefly mentioned in the first 2 chapters. It has long been forgotten. I said I didn't expect it just now. This Ruan Xingzhu is by Yueguang, the only female phoenix on Fengchu Mountain on Zuancangshan Road. She was saved by the male protagonist and regained her life, but her appearance was ruined. Afterwards, it can be said that he devoted himself wholeheartedly to the male protagonist, and after his death, he not only eradicated his mortal enemies, but also gave him various pills, magical weapons, and treasure cultivation resources. Upon learning that the male protagonist's innate spiritual roots were damaged and unable to cultivate, White Moonlight sacrificed himself and changed his fate against the heavens, becoming a tool for the male protagonist to embark on the path of cultivation and ascension. Then the corpse was placed in an ice coffin by the male protagonist in the forbidden area behind Wuwu Peak, and observed day by day. Later, when the female protagonist appeared, she completely forgot about her here. That's right, this male lead is Fuqiao. Daily observation. Fuck him, damn pervert. Ruan Xingzhu is covered in a cold aversion. At that time, reading the article was so enjoyable, but now it's so disgusting. As a starting point, Fuqiao is a good male protagonist, but as a person, he is not a good person. White cut black, sickly and paranoid. In order to force the female protagonist to be with him, he even kidnapped her master and deposed her cultivation. In reality, encountering such a person is truly a disaster for 8 lifetimes. Don't say anything, cherish life, stay away from the male lead, the farther away from the plot, the better. Her mission is to find the Phoenix clan. Hey, what is this blue dot? Ruan Xingzhu manipulated his divine sense to lightly touch the small blue ball that suddenly appeared. With a splash, the little blue ball burst and some blue crystals overflowed, following Ruan Xingzhu's divine sense and entering the dantian. Not to mention, it was warm and quickly dispelled the cold air. 3 ice blue large characters appear on the display screen. Tianjie Heart Technique. Breaking the Sky Sword. Please confirm if you want to practice it. Yes. No. Well, Ruan Xingzhu carefully studied it, but didn't understand what it was. So let's just ignore it for now. I don't know what it is, but I can't just practice blindly. She doesn't want to give up before helping others fulfill their wishes. This bamboo basket is useless. Can you cross it off? Ruan Xingzhu transformed into a human figure with his divine sense, and with 2 casual waves, the screen dissipated. Why is your face a bit icy cold? A clear and soft male voice suddenly came from above her. Xingzhu, in the past 2 months, my talent has been seen and valued by the sect leader. Thanks to you, thank you for wishing me a spiritual root. Fu Qiao lowered his gaze, his cold eyes mixed with seductive entanglement. He pressed his fingers against Ruan Xingzhu's face, affectionately saying, "Don't worry, Xingzhu. I will definitely wake you up. Today at the apprenticeship ceremony, I found a strange girl, and I could see something special about her at a glance. She seems to be able to help me wake you up. You wait for me. Ruan Xingzhu. Thank you for the invitation. I don't know why White Moonlight is doing this now. That peculiar girl is the female lead unless there is an accident, and he won't come back after there is no accident. Why pretend to be affectionate? She shouldn't have his hands on her face. Virus. Get your hands off me quickly. Cherish life and stay away from the male lead." After waiting for about a decade, Naoyang finally left, and the stone gate roared again as the person left. Ruan Xingzhu breathed a sigh of relief. The virus can be considered dead. When will it be better not to leave now? She slowly pushed away the ice sheet and sat up, holding the ice coffin with both hands. As soon as one foot landed, it softened and fell to the ground. Ruan Xingzhu. After finishing the ball, I forgot that this body has been inactive for 2 months. She sighed and glanced at the ice coffin by chance, then turned her head to look at her reflection inside the coffin. The black scar winds from the forehead to the chin, covering the entire face with scars. The ferocious scar is like a demon in this world, ugly and terrifying. I can't even see my face. Ruan Xingzhu froze. Who is this? Who is this? I'm here. Please appreciate the collection and comments from the official. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Female Lead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Female Lead. Ruan Xingzhu is going crazy. Oh my goodness. Why am I so ugly? She is a late-stage beauty control patient, the kind with no medicine to cure. Why is the game over before we even start the journey? How can we meet people? How the White Moonlight changed the male lead's life and disfigured himself. After a long pause, she finally accepted this reality. The blue subtitle appeared in front of her again, this time with a few extra lines of text. May I ask if you have learned mind techniques? I have detected that there is no fluctuation in your Dantian spiritual power, so it is estimated that your spiritual root has been destroyed. The scar on your face is caused by the phoenix's true fire, and there is currently no cure in the cultivation world. Here's a suggestion. Practicing the original mind technique can not only reshape the spiritual roots, with boundless power, but also enhance beauty in beauty. Any stubborn illness or scar caused by being possessed by evil spirits without medicine can be cured. A rebirth is right in front of you. Investing in stocks is not a loss, yes. No. Ruan Xingzhu. Oh, what should I do if I'm so tempted? She is well aware that strength has always been a top priority in the cultivation world, but why does she always feel that this thing is sneaky and malicious? She tentatively asked, is there any defect or sequelae in this mental method? The blue character flashed and said, I don't know how to cry, and this technique is unique to this world. Once bound to you, I will accompany you in this lifetime. Ruan Xingzhu. Learn. Selected for you. Blue letters turn into waves of blue elements entering Ruan Xingzhu Dantian. Mind method rank. 0, function. Strengthen physical fitness and increase strength. Please make an effort to cultivate, host. Friendly reminder. This cultivation method is unique and only has the upper part. Please try your best to find the remaining lower part. If you reach the 5th level of cultivation and cannot find any remaining cultivation methods, you may die due to not being able to carry such strong magic. Ruan Xingzhu felt numb and deceived. Burst and die. She said it. Where did the pie come from in the sky? Can I return it? I won't practice anymore. The blue text shakes and says, unbinding is not supported. Once bound, lifelong after. Sales service will last until the end of your life. Ruan Xingzhu is strange. Why is this thing so intelligent? The blue mist dispersed, and a blue little fox jumped out, elegantly standing in front of her with 4 claws. Hi host, there is 1/1000th of the heavenly level mind technique that can awaken consciousness. You can also call me the book spirit of this mind technique. I will accompany you and personally guide you on how to cultivate it. Ruan Xingzhu rubbed his chin and said, can you even produce divine intelligence with half of your cultivation? Blue Fox. Yes, host. Oh. Okay then. No matter what's going on, just treat her face. Ruan Xingzhu moved his legs, supported the ice coffin, stood up, and tried to let go before walking. No problem. Oh, it seems that this mental technique is quite useful. Ruan Xingzhu did not walk towards the stone gate of the cave, but instead walked towards the depths of the cave. The little blue fox jumped and followed behind her. How can you walk from here? The cave is dark and damp, with moss growing all over the walls and water dripping down. The ground is also winding with vines, thick and everywhere, like tentacle-swallowing monsters, occasionally accompanied by the sound of the wind. Ruan Xingzhu's expression was lazy. Did you hear me? The little blue fox blinked in confusion and said, do you hear anything, the wind? Ruan Xingzhu chuckled lazily and coquettishly. With the sound of water flow and wind, it indicates that there must be a river deep inside that can lead to the outside world. Why walk through the stone gate? If you're not careful, you'll be seen as a criminal intentionally entering the forbidden area. The little blue fox nodded and said, you're right. After walking for about 10 kilometers, a river appeared. Ruan Xingzhu rolled up his sleeves and went down the river. She squinted and smiled in the river. Come down, come on my shoulder. The little blue fox felt relieved and jumped up. Ruan Xingzhu quickly swam to the end with it, and as expected, a small hole appeared, with sunlight pouring down from outside. Ruan Xingzhu landed, her wet hair becoming increasingly black and beautiful, draped over her curvaceous body. She sat on the grass, twisted her soaked clothes, and suddenly laughed. The quality of these clothes is good. Although they are light and thin, they are not transparent at all. Someone patted her from behind and said, who are you? Her voice was hoarse and weak. Ruan Xingzhu turned his head and met a little girl with bright eyes and white teeth. The little girl was wearing patched linen clothes, with round eyes, a delicate face as big as a palm, and a thin and weak body. At first glance, she was malnourished. The little girl was still holding a blue robe in her hand, as if it was the clothes she wanted to change. At the moment Ruan Xingzhu turned her head, the little girl's round pupils shrank, as if frightened. Ruan Xingzhu lowered her eyes and gave a self-deprecating smile. As for her current appearance, others would be grateful if she didn't spit. What else could she hope for? She can't accept being disfigured now because she also has scars in reality, with a green and winding scar covering her eyes. It came from her mother's womb and she tried many methods, but none of them could make the scar disappear. Ruan Xingzhu's emotions churned in his eyes, changing the world. Is that still the case? She had a feeling of being lost and helpless, like going out to sea at dusk, the road unfamiliar and distant. Who knew? The little girl said again, are you okay? How could you fall into the water? Do you want to go back to your room with me to change clothes? A set of blue clothes was handed to me. She looked up and saw that the little girl was wearing a linen clothes, with white hair washed but very clean. Her calloused hands were anxiously rubbing against the clothes, her eyes full of reluctance, and she resolutely handed them over. Ruan Xingzhu was stunned, and she slowly looked up along her slender arm. The little girl's expression was worried, and her gaze was pure, not fake. A warm current flowed into her heart, and her eyes immediately turned red. I remember a sentence I saw in my textbook during my school years. The sun is setting, and there are lights on at night. Look at this world, it's not bad. Unfortunately, she has never encountered it before. Today she laughed, "Ah, this little girl is so cute." Ruan Xingzhu stood up, stroke by stroke, and the little girl finally reached her chest. She pinched her chin and pondered, she wasn't too tall either. This little girl looks only 1.2 meters tall now, and she was even happier. She's a big fart, how could she be so cute and kind? The little girl looked at her with some nervousness and timidity. Her deer-like eyes not only had clarity, but also genuine kindness. Jio. It's the sound of Cupid's arrows. This little girl is really, really cute. Ruan Xingzhu is cute, don't want it. I can't bear it. She immediately hugged the little girl and ravaged her. Ruan Xingzhu screamed, what kind of fairy is this? It's so cute. The little girl was pinched by Ruan Xingzhu's face, pushed with her little hand, and said vaguely, you change your clothes first. Seeking collection Lala, compared to heart, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. Warcraft. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Warcraft. Ruan Xingzhu gently touched the head of the female lead, and indeed, under the shining halo of the female lead, her hair was all smooth. She smiled faintly. I won't wear it anymore. This should be your disciple's uniform, right? She could see the big characters above, Wuwangfeng. Qingqiu. Ruan Xingzhu felt a bit distressed. Hey. It was agreed to stay away from the plot and not get involved in any troubles. Surprisingly, I accidentally bumped into the little female lead, and she is so cute, should we take the male lead instead? The little blue fox said in her mind, host, please stop your absurd thoughts. Although I don't know why you called the original owner's Fuqiao young master the male lead, he is the original owner's life-saving benefactor, and she won't want to see you do anything to harm him. It, as the spiritual consciousness left by the phoenix, has already signed a contract with Ruan Xingzhu. Its spiritual consciousness is connected, but some of its memories are interconnected. Cut. Ruan Xingzhu pursed his lips. No, that's not it. Her eyes were purring. How about changing the male lead for the young female lead? The little blue fox arched its body and its fur exploded, giving Ruan Xingzhu a paw directly. You can't be rude to Lord Fuqiao. Ruan Xingzhu said, that man doesn't seem like a good thing at first glance, okay? Ruan Xingzhu lost everything because of him, why are you still treating him like this? Bad seed. The little blue fox bared its teeth at her and said, it's just not allowed. Qingqiu looked at the little blue fox with sparkling eyes, staring at it all the time. Uncontrollably, she reached out and touched the little blue fox's head. Qingqiu. Wow, how cute. Is this your companion? Ruan Xingzhu squinted and smiled, no, this is reserve grain. Stay in the clear autumn. What's wrong, you like it? Ruan Xingzhu extended her slender, fair and slender fingers, pinched the back of the little blue fox's neck, and threw it into Qingqiu's arms. Qingqiu's excited little face turned red. Sister, why don't you come with me to the house and change your clothes first? Ruan Xingzhu twisted the cuffs and directly pinched a trick to make the clothes dry. Having memories and elixirs is just a spell, simple. Ruan Xingzhu smiled and said, no need, thank you for your kindness. I'm not from your sect. Do you know how to get out? Qingqiu blushed and felt a little ashamed. She slowly grabbed the skin and flesh of the little blue fox and said, sorry sister, I don't know, I can't help you. The little blue fox turned into light blue dots directly from her arms and dissipated into the air. Stay still in Qingqiu, it's okay. Little angel, goodbye. Ruan Xingzhu sat on the tree, holding a piece of grass in his mouth, his legs swaying, and he was humming a song. The little blue fox was still nagging, that girl has such a big hand, it hurts the fox so much. Although little blue fox didn't understand how she managed to dodge the barrier by turning east and west. The foot of Wuwangfeng Mountain is actually a dangerous place, and the Warcraft forest is not far away. The sun emitted a warm yellow light, slowly moving westward, illuminating the forest and the earth with a warm yellow hue. The distant river shimmered with reflections of an orange sunset, and small animals bounced and ran towards the forest. Ruan Xingzhu learned that in this world, there are Warcraft and spirit beasts. Spirit beasts are difficult to find, but Warcraft beasts are everywhere. Warcraft is divided into 4 levels, from high to low. Heaven, Earth, Black, and Yellow. Each level is further divided into 3 levels. Low, Medium, and High. Most of the monsters in this Warcraft forest are low-level yellow-level monsters, so one is afraid of encountering high-level yellow-level monsters. Generally, only people with platinum cultivation can defeat high-level yellow-level monsters. Wild or undeveloped Warcraft can actively attack humans, and when they cannot be defeated, their lives may be in danger. And those who come here are not for the purpose of using Warcraft to improve their cultivation, or to collect them as pets. Little Blue Fox. Well, it's getting dark. There are monsters in the Warcraft forest at night. Judging from your current physical condition, your cultivation has been depleted and there are still many internal injuries, which may be dangerous. Should we stay at Wuwu Peak for the night and catch our journey tomorrow morning? Ruan Xingzhu chewed on the grass roots and snorted softly. There's no reason to go back when everyone comes out. Now that my spiritual roots are useless, I definitely can't rely on ordinary cultivation to practice that mental technique. There's no other way besides absorbing beast cores. She pinched her fingertips and laughed. This is just a chance to see how much she can't afford to step back. There's no reason to go back. The little blue fox's eyes widened and it hurt it, and the whole fox exploded into a ball. What nonsense, isn't that a crooked and evil way? We are serious mind techniques. Only those casual cultivators can practice those unremarkable and unconventional techniques, relying on absorbing others' cultivation for cultivation. Ruan Xingzhu jumped directly from the tree, spat grass, and blew a whistle. Who said this is a crooked way? It all depends on people, and there are also good aspects to magic cultivation. It all depends on where this cultivation is used. Why not practice quickly like this? This statement does not seem to be made by a righteous person, it is simply disregarding ethics. Ruan Xingzhu doesn't seem to feel like he said anything that deviates from the Tao. I haven't done anything to kill or set fire to anyone, I just sucked on the cultivation of some Warcraft. The last glimmer of light on the horizon was swallowed up by the night. Night, here it is. The cool breeze is blowing, gently lifting the hair of Ruan Xingzhu. A few strands of hair are floating in the air, unable to hang down. Ruan Xingzhu said excitedly with a calm expression, "Let's go, fight monsters." She casually broke off a branch from the tree and headed towards the Warcraft forest. A dozen or so Warcraft beasts smelled the scent of humans and slowly surrounded her. Ruan Xingzhu, one person and one branch, remained calm even when surrounded by several yellow tier monsters. The little blue fox is a bit panicked. The host doesn't have any spiritual roots now, not even the little bronze. Without spiritual roots, how can we defeat Warcraft? Ga, what should I do? Who takes it to find the phoenix? It cautiously moved to Ruan Xingzhu's side and earnestly said. Host, listen to my advice. Let's quit first. There's no need to take shortcuts for cultivation. Mind skills don't have to be practiced like this. Can we still absorb the essence of the sun and the moon? Ruan Xingzhu lazily glanced at it and said, look at your despicable appearance. The cultivation world values strength and doesn't even have the ability to defeat Warcraft. How can we find the phoenix? If they encounter something unexpected, they will definitely have to seek revenge. What kind of revenge will they take if they don't have the strength? Go up and give someone a head. Little blue fox. Although, we don't have that strength right now. The round-headed and round-eared yellow rank low-level Warcraft drooled, with one Warcraft about 3 times that of Ruan Xingzhu. 8 Warcraft surrounded her in a circle. They stared at Ruan Xingzhu and kept moving forward, their fierce eyes filled with a thirst for food. Ruan Xingzhu also stared at them with wide eyes, but remained motionless. Staring at her for 10 breaths, seeing that she was motionless, a Warcraft couldn't help but pounce on her. Ruan Xingzhu narrowed her eyes and hooked the corner of her mouth. She's finally going to fight, her legs are sore from standing. So excited. Gone is done. She threw the branch away. Little blue fox. A Warcraft bit towards her with its big mouth open. The girl was completely enveloped in the shadow of this Warcraft, appearing vulnerable. Little blue fox has sudden cardiac arrest. Isn't it a good start? Seeking collection, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. Weapons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Weapons. Watching the monster's bloodthirsty jaws bite up, even its fur touched Ruan Xingzhu's body. Other Warcraft also followed closely behind. In the blink of an eye, Ruan Xingzhu leaned over and passed her fingers directly through the heart of the closest monster, squeezing it hard. She smiled silently and said, "Bang!" In an instant, blood splattered onto her clothes and face. The heart of the Warcraft shattered into debris and fell to the ground with a loud bang. Ruan Xingzhu didn't even move in place, as if stretching her body, swaying left and right at an incredible speed, evading all the attacks of the monsters. Then, with her slender hands, she pierced and squeezed their hearts one by one, and at such a fast speed, only the remnants could be seen. Bang! 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 The little blue fox was stunned. Evil sections. There is no spiritual root, and his cultivation is completely useless. At most, he is just an ordinary person with better physical fitness. Obviously, ordinary people do not have such kung fu. Even cultivators in the early stages of platinum cannot crush low-level yellow-level monsters with just one hand. It has never seen such an evil person before. It frowned and said, "Why are you such a cruel woman? Aren't you from a peaceful world? Also, since you're throwing a branch, why do you have to break one?" Ruan Xingzhu squinted his eyes and licked the blood at the corner of his mouth with his tongue. He smiled inexplicably, "You mind the beauty's business and don't provoke me." Her blood-red hands slowly closed and made a pinching motion. "Crush you." The little blue fox burst into tears. It was bound to some peerless female demon head, and the more we got along, the more it felt like its way of dealing with things didn't look like a good person. Its fate is so bitter. Why are you crying? It's annoying. Ruan Xingzhu. Cry again, crush you. The little blue fox successfully shut up. Ruan Xingzhu smiled and pointed at the forehead of the little blue fox with his fingertips. My heart is towards the bridge, so from now on, you can call me the weasel. If you ever dare to make me unhappy, I'll stew you as reserve food. Little blue fox. Oh no, it's called a weasel now. Weasel. It dares to be angry but not speak. Ruan Xingzhu is a Warcraft that starts to absorb from her heart, but she carefully felt inside her body. The dantian was silent, empty, and there was no fart. Ruan Xingzhu. Emotions cannot be cultivated without spiritual roots, right? Ruan Xingzhu couldn't help but pick up the weasel with a dangerous expression. How can you cultivate this mental technique? Weasel. Although, I don't know. It's up to the host to explore on their own. Okay. Ruan Xingzhu threw the yellow weasel and continued walking forward, one by one. The leaves rustled in the wind, and the footsteps occasionally creaked on the dirt road. Suddenly, swords and shadows appeared ahead, and several people in tattered clothes were deadlocked with a Warcraft. The clothes of those few people were uniform blue, with dirt and stains on them, and the words, Xianyuan sect, vaguely written on their backs. That monster is 3 times larger than the one Ruan Xingzhu encountered before, and its body is as huge as a big house. The Warcraft opened its mouth and flicked its tail, causing several people to panic and dodge. A woman shouted, "Zhuanzi, didn't you just say that this kind of cultivation monster is easy to fight against? You should use your ultimate move quickly." "That's right, if we wait any longer, we'll all die under this beast." This Warcraft is a high-level cultivation of the yellow rank, and those few people roughly see that the highest cultivation is only in the early platinum stage, and the lowest cultivation is actually in the early bronze stage, which is not even a star or half. Fighting Warcraft. Are these ignorant guys looking for a dead end? Ruan Xingzhu stared carefully at the Warcraft, touching her chin and squinting her eyes. The more she looked, the more she felt that the Warcraft looked like a nine-tailed fox. Weasel. Don't doubt it, it's a nine-tailed fox. As a fox, it can still see this. Ruan Xingzhu's eyes lit up and he said, "Wow, this is really cute." She casually folded a branch to the side and walked forward. So everyone saw a thin but tasteful ugly girl, walking step by step to the Warcraft, curling her lips and saying to the Warcraft, "You can practice your hands with me." Everyone. Forget about the ugliness of this woman, don't bring them up if you're crazy. The previous woman said, "Since she's willing to take over, let's run quickly. She volunteered to come and die herself, and it's not our fault if she dies." After a moment of silence, Shuozi hesitated and said, "Isn't that good?" As soon as they hesitated, someone stared blankly at the front, speechless, while others looked at them in confusion. I saw that the woman threw away the branch, lightly stepped on it, and flew into the air, flying to the head of the monster. Then, with two small hands, she twisted the hair on both sides of the monster's head, and with a click sound, the nine-tailed fox's tail fell off, leaving only 8. Everyone was stunned and looked at each other. Warcraft. Help. Ruan Xingzhu actually finds it very novel. Why doesn't this thing lose its head and tail? Oh, this is the nine-tailed fox. 9 lives. So she quickly twisted it a few more times, and in the blink of an eye, the Warcraft only had 1 tail left. Warcraft. It quickly used its divine sense to communicate with Ruan Xingzhu. "Female Xia, spare my life. Please keep me alive, I can take you and your companions out of the Warcraft forest." "Good guy, this has ruined her freshness." Ruan Xingzhu. "Can this thing still communicate with me?" Weasel. "No one knows, in fact, if Warcraft volunteers, it can convey divine consciousness to people." Oh. That's it. She suddenly thought to herself, "Is your tail the same way?" Scared, the weasel quickly covered its tail. Ding, successfully saved 8 people, obtained merit +8, level of mental skill. 1, learned. Sword is born from the heart, distance from the next level. 1000 merit. Obtained secret fragment. Phoenix is an ancient divine beast. Oh ho. So this cultivation method relies on saving people to earn merit. But the Phoenix beast. She has a bold idea. Her body is like a phoenix, so she shouldn't be a divine beast, but where does a divine beast have spiritual roots? Is this a cultivator or a divine beast? Forget it, let's go and see. Ruan Xingzhu carefully experienced it and then transformed into a bamboo branch out of thin air, with 2 green leaves hanging on the green branches. It can't be said that the 2 branches she broke before are exactly the same in length. Ruan Xingzhu. Weasel. Ruan Xingzhu squinted his eyes and picked up the weasel. Weasel. It's none of my business. And what is this secret fragment? Me too. I don't know either, the weasel shrank its neck. Ruan Xingzhu's fist instantly hardened. 1 question, 3 questions, don't you know? Do we have to stay behind and explore on our own? The 9-tailed fox felt that its little life was in danger, and it also clearly sensed that the atmosphere was not right. It quickly tightened its front paws and pleaded for mercy. Female Xia. Can you spare my life? It doesn't know why, even though it can be considered a powerhouse of this Warcraft forest, seeing this girl gives it a sense of oppression. Ruan Xingzhu suddenly remembered that she was still sitting with a nine-tailed fox. She rolled up the bamboo branch and threw it down. Ruan Xingzhu gently touched the fur of the nine-tailed fox with her small hand. I can spare your life, she squinted and turned her words, but be careful when speaking. We are not companions. Ruan Xingzhu looked down with a glance. These overestimated and cowardly guys were not worthy of being her companions. Warcraft. Okay, just say what you say. It carried Ruan Xingzhu and walked rapidly in the Warcraft forest, heading towards the forest exit. The fur of the nine-tailed fox was too soft, and Ruan Xingzhu was drowsy, so he decided to just lie on its back and sleep. The next morning, the first ray of bright light broke through the sky, with layers of white clouds and warm sunlight filtering the earth. It's dawn. Ruan Xingzhu stretched comfortably and said, Don't worry, I slept really comfortably. She turned back to look at the 8 people who were now pitch black and whistled, Oh, are you still following me? Those 8 people rolled her eyes. A spacious light came from afar, indicating that the exit had arrived. How could there be 2 figures at the entrance of the forest? Ruan Xingzhu was about to take a closer look when he saw the swords collected by the 8 people rushing over at lightning speed. The talkative girl ran and shouted, Elder Mu, look. We defeated that Warcraft. Brother Xuanzi punched and kicked it with 3 fists and 2 kicks, and willingly sent us out. You see, we are much more powerful than the kid you picked up halfway. Shouldn't you keep your promise and drive him away? The nine-tailed fox impatiently kicked its paws under Ruan Xingzhu's body. Its impressive nine-tailed fox's reputation is actually going to be defeated by the little girl movie. Ruan Xingzhu gently touched its head and looked over there. I saw a kind-hearted old man with a white beard and a young man carrying a heavy sword. The young man's figure was as straight as bamboo, with a cold and handsome face with sharp edges and eyes full of coldness. Ruan Xingzhu narrowed his eyes and patted the nine-tailed fox under him, asking the weasel. Did the girl just say that they defeated this Warcraft? Take credit for her. Seeking collection, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Duel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Duel. Ruan Xingzhu squinted his eyes, his long hair hanging down, and his hands caressed the hair of the nine-tailed fox, intending to listen carefully to how this woman was being careless. Nine-tailed fox. Don't be like this. I'm afraid of sobbing. Ruan Xingzhu gave it a look, asking it not to lose face. Nine-tailed fox. Wuwu. Whitebeard was obviously not that foolish. He looked up and down at their tattered clothes, thinking he needed to save face for his disciple. He patted the boy beside him and sighed, Hey, Xiaoya, Xiaofeng is just a homeless child. What are you doing? Yuan Yi had a beautiful face, but every word she said was heart-wrenching. Oh, you pity him, who pities us? Tell yourself how long it has been since you picked him up 3 years ago that you haven't talked to us properly. If it weren't for us causing this, do you still remember that we were your legitimate disciples? Either he left or we left on our own. Whitebeard touched his beard and sighed, You child, why are your thoughts so extreme? Yuan Yi was clearly a bit desperate. You didn't say that when you promised to bet. Muzi Feng took the initiative to stand up, with no expression on his cold face. His voice was deep and pleasant, Elder Mu, I'm leaving. Whitebeard pushed him back, causing a commotion with his head wide open. Besides, he wanted to give them some experience, but now he was a bit difficult to get off and could only shift his gaze to Ruan Xingzhu. Ruan Xingzhu received information from it that the woman named Yuan Yi stole her credit in order to drive away the young man. Ruan Xingzhu flipped over and danced gracefully in her white clothes. She lightly tapped her toes and landed on the ground. She raised her head and smiled, saying, I fought this monster. Upon hearing this, Beard looked serious and raised his hand to give a note to Yuan Yi, saying, Xiao Yi, how do I usually teach you, seize credit and distort right and wrong? It's really insulting to your school. You're full of nonsense, so go back and reflect on me. Shuozi stood up with a chubby body and a chubby face. Elder Mu, don't be angry. It was my idea, he said. Whitebeard directly applied a taboo spell to them all. It's embarrassing. We'll all go back to fight 10 times, face the wall and think twice. Yuan Yi looked very dissatisfied. She pouted in grievance, feeling very dissatisfied. She saw that Elder Mu's heart was biased towards Mu Zifeng. Ruan Xingzhu lifted his scarred face and looked at Elder Mu's eyes, squinting and smiling, saying, if it weren't for me, they would all have died in the mouth of the Warcraft. Whitebeard's eyes were cold, his gaze swept over the 9-tailed fox, and then he looked at Ruan Xingzhu. For a moment, he couldn't see the girl's cultivation clearly. Judging from the age at which its bones are at most 17 or 18, it is easy to subdue high-level yellow-level monsters at a young age. It is not an ordinary person, and such exceptional talent should not be unknown in the cultivation world. He carefully considered various sects, but there was no such genius. I don't know which sect this girl comes from, and perhaps it's from which retired sect. The cultivation level that even he cannot see through must be above the diamond cultivation level. Whitebeard put away his complicated thoughts and looked kindly. It was my carelessness that caused trouble for the girl. Ruan Xingzhu. Can't we have some practical thanks? What does the girl want? Ruan Xingzhu looked at the handsome young man and said, I also want to worship under your door and live with him. Ruan Xingzhu pointed his hand at the young man. The white beard paused as he touched his beard. Ruan Xingzhu said, is it too much to request the replacement of 8 disciples under your sect? The weasel jumped onto Ruan Xingzhu's shoulder and said, what are you doing? Ruan Xingzhu pressed its head. Don't worry about the boss's affairs. This white beard is only in the later stage of diamond cultivation, and his personal disciple's highest cultivation is also in the early stage of platinum. However, this young man has a faint trend of diamond fullness. This young man's bones are so amazing. It's a pity to stay here and eat dirt. Of course, he has to kidnap and follow her to move bricks. She wants to venture into the cultivation world. Although she doesn't have a spiritual root, she can kidnap a few unjust heads, a few tool people. Isn't this a good opportunity to come to your door? It depends on the individual. After a slight thought, Beard agreed. Who doesn't love the genius disciple who descended from heaven? He can still subdue the yellow rank advanced Warcraft with his bare hands. He was so happy that his beard kept rising. An unknown Shaoshan located some distance from the Warcraft forest. That's right, this mountain is called some unknown Shaoshan. Ruan Xingzhu sat in a luxurious room drinking tea, holding a small fan while drinking tea. Next to him was a disciple's uniform with the words Xiaoyao sect printed on it. She doesn't want to wear such ugly clothes. Duh. As a phoenix, her hearing is very sensitive now. The sound of hurried footsteps came, and someone was coming towards us. Ruan Xingzhu raised his eyes. The wooden door was kicked open with a loud bang, and the visitor was dressed in elegant attire, with a charming face and a coquettish voice. I heard that Elder Mu has taken in another disciple, who is also a female disciple. She even arranged to come next door to Brother Zifeng, so let me take a closer look at who it is. The girl's beautiful voice was still ringing, sharp and sharp. Oh, what about this ugly thing? I heard you came because of Brother Zifeng, but I warn you that Brother Zifeng belongs to me. Moreover, Brother Zifeng has exceptional talent and temperament. After 3 years of training, he will become a diamond in the later stage of cultivation. Can you deserve it? Ruan Xingzhu squinted his eyes. Who are you calling ugly things? Don't think this person will be afraid of platinum later on. However, is it related to her backup tool person? Who wouldn't know that Elder Mu has a dull aptitude? What he can teach is the most basic things. If you want resources, you don't have resources, if you want weapons, you don't have weapons. Ugly thing, if you know at least, get out of here quickly. Ruan Xingzhu calmly took a sip of tea. Someone has come. The woman couldn't help but feel a bit insulted when she saw her so calm and indifferent. She was about to take action when Yuan Yi suddenly appeared and slashed at her. The woman turned sideways and dodged the attack. Yuan Yi. Yi Linglan, please shut up. My master is still an elder no matter what. What kind of thing are you? She held her sword in hand, her figure flashed and charged forward again, grabbing Yi Linglan's arm and making a knife. The lightning with thunderbolts on the sword struck Yi Linglan's arm at lightning speed and speed. Unexpectedly, Yi Linglan's clothes shimmered with gold, leaving her unscathed. Yi Linglan turned her back and a red flame flew out of her hand. Yuan Yi dodged and raised her sword again, charging straight towards Yi Linglan's storefront. Yi Linglan didn't dodge or dodge, just raised a wall of fire and waved her hand again. Touch. Fireballs were dense and rushed towards Yuan Yi like shells, unstoppable. Yuan Yi was hit by a fierce fireball and flew backwards. The violent impact between the human body and the wall stirred up a cloud of dust, and Yuan Yi leaned against the wall, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Yi Linglan's charming voice was full of charm and sarcasm. She walked slowly to Yuan Yi and glanced up and down at her, provoking her in her mouth. Yuan Yi, you still overestimate yourself. It's just the beginning of platinum, and I'm really praised by Elder Mu for not knowing the superiority of heaven and earth. With just your little ability, you still want to drive away Brother Zifeng. Are you dreaming? Yuan Yi wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and got up bit by bit. She sneered, it's better than your cultivation accumulated by relying on pills. Yi Linglan covered her face with her hand and chuckled, you can't envy me. Ruan Xingzhu had seen enough of the excitement and also got a satisfactory result. She placed the teacup on the table. With a thud. After watching the excitement, it's time to calculate the revenge for this person calling her ugly. Ruan Xingzhu threw the fan, and the fan flew fiercely towards the woman like blades. Yi Linglan couldn't avoid the situation and didn't dodge. She lifted her lips up and down and said, I'm looking for death. Before the Pufan could approach her, her magic robe burst out with waves of magic, and the Pufan shattered into debris on her forehead. Ruan Xingzhu was stunned and scanned the person up and down. Oh, this person's magic weapon is quite Doha. This guy has all the money skills and is wearing all the magic weapons. Yi Linglan snorted coldly, I wanted to let you go. Since you took the initiative, don't blame me for being impolite. She lifted her hand and a slight airflow swirled around her side, instantly floating numerous fiery fireballs on her side. Ruan Xingzhu. Do you think I'm afraid of you? With a movement in her heart, the bamboo branch was held in her hand. Yi Linglan sneered. The fiery fireball came with a fierce force, directly surrounding Ruan Xingzhu and preparing to launch. Ruan Xingzhu felt a burning smell and lowered his head to see that his hair had been set on fire. Okay, she really can't beat it. She's just afraid of money ability, sob. Bullying her without money is no magic weapon. Ruan Xingzhu threw the bamboo and ran away with his legs raised. Bamboo branches in the air, 1 against 10, firmly trapping the flames and fireballs. Before Yi Linglan could react, Ruan Xingzhu pulled her apart and ran towards the next door. Being crushed and psychologically unbalanced, she needs to find a tool person to seek comfort. Can't fight, can't she still run away? Seeking collection, end of this chapter. Chapter 7. Flexibility. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Flexibility. Unable to fight, she's not allowed to find reinforcements yet. The girl ran to the next door and stopped for a moment at the door. She scattered her hair and rubbed it up, then wiped some dust from the ground onto her face. She used a wind blade to cut her clothes into pieces. After finishing these, she gave a small push and walked in crying. Musifeng, please take care of your dear Linglan sister. The young man was blue in color, with handsome and picturesque eyebrows and eyes. He sat at the desk with a focused expression, wiping his sword, and looked up at the words. When I saw the girl dressed in rags, a hint of confusion flashed in her eyes. This confusion was quickly dispelled. Because he saw Yi Linglan and probably guessed something. Yi Linglan followed closely behind Ruan Xingzhu, full of anger, and kicked the door open. Bitch, get out of Brother Zifeng's room for me. Ruan Xingzhu quickly ran behind Mu Zifeng, reached out and grabbed his sleeve, saying, Your dear Linglan sister kicked open my door. First, she insulted our master, saying that his cultivation was low, and then she told me to get out of here. Yuan Yi came, she beat her up and vomited blood, and then hit me again. This one is pitiful, one is domineering, and you can tell at a glance who is the weaker side. And the fact also proves that Musifeng does indeed eat the delicate way. The young man stood up and released his pressure. He raised his hands to block the incoming fire, while also blocking in front of Ruan Xingzhu. Mu Zifeng's originally cold eyebrows and eyes became even more indifferent. Miss Yi, as a fellow disciple, don't make things too ugly. Ruan junior sister is always my junior sister. I won't argue with you about this matter, but I will truthfully report it to master. He leaned slightly and raised his arm, Sister Yi, please. His voice was soft and indifferent, and his expression did not fluctuate too much. However, an invisible pressure fell on Yi Linglan. Yi Linglan's face was pale from being suppressed, and she couldn't stand straight even if she wanted to. She coquettishly and softly showed weakness, Brother Zifeng, I didn't mean that. Don't be angry. Can you, don't tell Elder Mu. Telling Elder Mu is equivalent to telling her master. Although her master dotes on her, she doesn't want to leave a bad impression of bullying her master. Musifeng didn't look at her, his starry eyes slightly drooped, and he said again, Sister Yi, please. Yi Linglan's head was covered in cold sweat, and her eyes immediately turned red. She was scared by Musifeng. Linglan, please leave, she said as she bent down and hurriedly walked away. Musifeng turned around and looked up at Ruan Xingzhu, his expression not quite friendly. The coldness in his starry eyes stunned Ruan Xingzhu. Musifeng took out a brand new set of disciple uniforms from the space mustard and draped them over Ruan Xingzhu. Then he spoke up. Zifeng has something unknown. Even Huang Jie, a high-level Warcraft girl, can easily subdue it. Why can't she defeat a platinum late-stage woman? An invisible pressure fell on her. Ruan Xingzhu. She can't say she has Phoenix bloodline, can she? So she looked back calmly and said, no money, no magic weapon, I can't fight. Musifeng was taken aback for a moment, then turned around and returned to the room. After a while, he turned around and came out again. A black cloth bag was thrown towards him, and Ruan Xingzhu caught it. There are 2,000 high-quality spirit stones inside, which should be enough for the girl to use. Ruan Xingzhu's eyes lit up as soon as he heard these words. She carefully weighed the cloth bag and said with a smile, then please trouble Mr. Mu. This great bargain is really delicious. The agreed sword cultivator is the poorest, and the sword cultivator cultivates diligently. At first glance, she can't tell Liao. Miss, may I ask where the Warcraft is now? Said Musifeng, feeling relieved of his pressure. Ruan Xingzhu pondered seriously, pondered for a moment, and finally shook his head. She doesn't know either. She really doesn't know. It seems like since she came down, the Warcraft hasn't turned its head back. Just like what kind of beast she is, she is so gentle and kind, that Warcraft really doesn't recognize people. However, Ruan Xingzhu squinted his eyes, his abacus beads pounding in his heart. Mu Zifeng asked, is it because he is interested in Warcraft? She tentatively brought out the weasel. The poor little blue fox was squinting its eyes and preparing to rest when it was suddenly released, its eyes showing extreme clarity and foolishness. Paired with soft and fluffy blue fur, it looked extremely cute. Musifeng saw it, and a hint of familiarity flashed in his eyes. His expression softened, and he gently touched the hair on the little blue fox's head, which was scratched open by the little blue fox's paw. The weasel exploded with fur and wrinkled its nose, but it really disliked the guy in front of it who disturbed its sleep, and there was a smell of disgust in his body. Without a breath, he went back to Ruan Xingzhu's sea of knowledge on his own. Oh, no. Ruan Xingzhu felt that she had discovered a big secret. Musi Maple likes plush, can't we make good use of it? She was calculating with a clattering sound in her mind, feeling like she was one step closer to being abducted. Yi Linglan was taken by her master, Elder Qiu, to the door of Elder Mu. Elder Qiu. Evil disciple, kneel down. Yi Linglan was not convinced and said, why should I apologize? I can see clearly that ugly thing has no cultivation, but has been placed in Zifeng's brother's courtyard. Why? Just because Elder Mu now has a disciple named Musifeng, who has exceptional talent, no one knows. Elder Qiu's face was serious, with a disappointed look in his eyes. It seems that I have been too indulgent with you, making you speak falsely. Kneel down. He is simply well-intentioned. Elder, it's a secret matter. 3 months from now, the mustard seed must be released. He had already set a quota to send Yi Linglan in. At this critical moment, Elder Mu cannot seize the opportunity. Upon hearing Elder Qiu's ferocity, Yi Linglan's eyes immediately turned red and she dared not kneel, so she knelt down like this. Since Yi Linglan joined the sect, relying on her natural talent and old friendship with Elder Qiu, she has directly become an inner disciple. Elder Qiu also dotes on her to the fullest, delivering everything good to her hands. When has she been so cruel to her? Elder Qiu also bent down and whispered, Elder Mu, Linglan has been spoiled too much. She has a small temperament and is not bad in nature. Please have a lot, don't worry. Yuan Yi pushed the door open from inside with a loud bang, with a bandage wrapped around her arm. She sneered coldly, breaking into a private house, assaulting a fellow disciple without permission, and suing the leader is enough to punish her for 5 years of imprisonment and no longer practicing. Just as Yi Linglan was about to argue that she didn't take the initiative, she was pressed down by Elder Qiu before she even looked up. Elder Qiu said, Master Yuan, calm down. Do you think I can send you 10,000 top-quality spirit stones later? Yuan Yi raised her chin and looked mockingly at Yi Linglan, who was kneeling on the ground in a slightly disheveled state. 10,000 top-grade spirit stones. Qiu Changlao hurriedly said, plus a month of high-quality cultivation resources. Yuan Yi said, oh, bring me the things. Those who don't take advantage of the cheap goods are fools. She gave a cool glance at Yi Linglan kneeling and said, as for her, kneel here for me until I am satisfied. Yi Linglan lifted her head with a shudder, her eyes like cannibalistic, wishing to devour Yuan Yi alive. Elder Qiu pressed her head down again and lightly replied. Okay. Weasel. There is only one host in this world who doesn't think I'm cute. Seeking collection, end of this chapter. Chapter 8. Rumors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Rumors. Ruan Xingzhu summoned the weasel again, smiled and pinched it a few steps forward, placing the weasel in Musifeng's arms. Does Mr. Mu like plush? I was arguing with it in my heart, be calm. Don't keep moving. The tool man is within reach. The boy held the little blue fox, his eyes clearly flickering, but shook his head and returned it. Miss, the matter has been resolved, please go back, he said. He also said, if you need to practice, you can go to the secret scripts pavilion. Ruan Xingzhu wanted to struggle again, but was blasted out by spiritual power. Ruan Xingzhu. She was actually kicked out. She held the little blue fox and touched it haphazardly. The weasel blinked its watery eyes and leaned forward to rub against Ruan Xingzhu, pitifully. Host, that person just now had a scent that I didn't like. Unlike Dora. Ruan Xingzhu narrowed her eyes, then let go and raised the corner of her lips. It doesn't matter if you're a good person, you can play the role of a tool person. And if you're not a good person, then you'll have a clear conscience when you use it. The sunlight shone on the girl's face, and the warm yellow light softened the facial lines and covered the blue scars. The cunning and agility in his eyes became more and more obvious, and he exuded a joyful emotion, vivid and lively, appearing warm and radiant. In the eyes of the little blue fox, it is another scenery. As a mental technique bound to Ruan Xingzhu, it can see her spiritual sea. The spiritual sea of Ruan Xingzhu has always been a soft and bright warm color tone, and now that faint yellow is shining brighter. Shining and translucent, very beautiful. The weasel thought to himself. Although its host is very cruel and its thoughts are different from ordinary people, which is a bit biased, it is actually very kind and beautiful. It still has a question, why not tilt its head and rub against her hand? Host, are you really unable to defeat Yilinglan? It always feels that, based on its host's innate divine power, it doesn't seem like it can't be defeated. Ruan Xingzhu flicked her hair, her eyes lazy. Of course I can't beat it. I don't even have a spiritual root right now. I'm just an ordinary person. How could I possibly beat the platinum late stage with all the magic protection? She curled her lips and walked towards the secret scripts pavilion. In the original text, it was actually mentioned that the Xiaoyao sect is one of the 5 small sections. Will you mention the Xiaoyao sect or Yilinglan? Yilinglan and the female lead both went to the ostentatious sect to pay their respects, but only the female lead was selected. Yilinglan did not, and she hated the male lead who was selecting disciples. Shortly after joining the sect, the once-in-a-millennium mustard seed Sumi secret realm was opened. Yilinglan has a spot, but after entering, she collided with a high-level demon beast named 19-tailed lizards. Coincidentally, the male protagonist passed by and she wanted to take the opportunity to kill the male protagonist who was 1 rank lower than her. However, she was seriously injured by the male protagonist and fled, and her own vitality was greatly depleted by the Warcraft. Not long after the male protagonist returned and developed, he directly ended up protecting Yilinglan's sect, the Xiaoyao sect. Well, it's the carefree faction she's currently in. The sect that is about to be destroyed. Well, based on this calculation, there are less than 3 months left before the mustard seed bun is about to bloom. She needs to study the Phoenix bloodline. Besides being able to suppress Warcraft with her bloodline, what else can this thing do? Also, there was no mention of this talented Musi Feng in the original text, and I don't know what kind of person he was. It feels like Yilinglan was so romantic and imaginative. After walking along the stone path for only a few dozen steps, we arrived at the secret scripts pavilion. Surrounded by the jungle, in front of the Tsueyu Tower, there is a golden plaque. Secret Scripts Pavilion. It looks like it's 18 floors high. She was about to step in when a young and delicate boy stopped her and said, "Miss, please show me your identification card." Ruan Xingzhu thought. Identity card. She just arrived, there's no identification card. After thinking for a moment, she took out the jade pendant that Elder Mu had given her and asked, "Is this okay?" After she apprenticed, Elder Mu gave her this jade pendant. This jade pendant has no elemental fluctuations, and she doesn't know what it is. The delicate young man was taken aback when he saw the young master's order. How could this girl have a young master's order, just like seeing Elder Mu himself? Isn't it? The delicate young man's eyes flickered slightly. Isn't it that this person is the rumored illegitimate daughter newly found by Elder Mu? In the past 2 days, Elder Mu went to the Warcraft forest and brought back 8 inner disciples, as well as a disfigured young girl who had no cultivation but was accepted as an inner disciple. There are rumors that this is Elder Mu's illegitimate daughter, which is widely circulated. The delicate young man calmly looked at Ruan Xingzhu, his face covered in scars and not wearing a disciple's uniform. Coupled with this young master's order, it was also worth it. He opened the door and instructed, the first 3 floors of the tower that the girl can enter with her current permissions are basic martial arts on the first floor, low-level martial arts on the second floor, and basic weapon storage on the third floor. Each floor has a seal, and the girl must not go up again to avoid injury. Ruan Xingzhu squinted her eyes, familiar with this kind of gaze. Curious, disdainful, contemptuous, with a hint of self-righteous pity. Compassion. Oh, who do you look down on? She went in without looking back. I vaguely heard someone scolding me from behind. An illegitimate woman is an illegitimate woman who doesn't understand any rules and can't make a name for herself. It's a fact to scold her for being ugly, but is it an illegitimate daughter? She can't bear the insulted bird aura. Ruan Xingzhu turned back on the spot. With a flash in his hand, the bamboo branch fell into his hand. She quickly pressed the bamboo branch against the young man's neck, half smiling. You're afraid it's not a problem with your cecum, right? Your eyes are not working well, and your mouth is long. She said. This conversation directly confused the young man. He couldn't understand what he was talking about, but it didn't seem like a good word. What are you talking about? I'm a disciple guarding the secret scripts pavilion. How dare you be rude? He wanted to move, but was suppressed by something and couldn't move. Ruan Xingzhu saw his anger and took another step forward, causing the young man's neck to bleed. Her eyes were full of cruelty. What did you just say? The young man finally felt a little scared and said in fear, I know my mistake, I know my mistake. Who said she didn't have any cultivation? Can bamboo be transformed out of thin air without cultivation? Can he not move without cultivation? Say what you just said about your master's degree again. The young man dared not speak up. Ruan Xingzhu. It's okay, just tell me why you said that. The young man repeated the rumors. Ruan Xingzhu quickly took back the bamboo branch and flipped it over before disappearing. I can't hear anyone wrongly accusing me. Don't let me hear these words again, next time you'll lose your head, she said. The boy nodded. Ruan Xingzhu is satisfied. Those who are knowledgeable about current affairs are considered heroes. She folded herself into the secret scripts pavilion. Don't let her go upstairs. She's leaning up. The weasel begged for credit in her mind. Host, how are you? Am I great? Praise me. Ruan Xingzhu perfunctorily said, you're the best. Her mind is actually focused on the barrier. I took a turn. Well, there seems to be no breakthrough. How can we handle this? Ruan Xingzhu once again turned his mind to the weasel. She said thoughtfully, Weasel, you must have a way out if you're so good. Seeking collection. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. School. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. School. The weasel rushed forward and bit the barrier a few times, breaking it open. Ruan Xingzhu ran straight to the 18th floor. An ancient bloodline like the Phoenix bloodline is definitely the most confidential. She is so clever. Give yourself a like. In the sea of books, Ruan Xingzhu searched frantically with his divine sense. The book is blue and serene, floating around like a sea of stars, while Ruan Xingzhu travels through it at a glance. Found it. Ruan Xingzhu raised his hand and grabbed the most peculiar shining book. Open the book and see 10 lines at a glance. The Phoenix clan is a divine beast that was born during the chaotic period. It is said that it was transmitted from the distant outer sky to the Zuancangshan road. Wait, beyond the heavens. Where did it come from? She remembers the ending as if the male lead successfully led the female lead to ascend, the villain rebelled and destroyed the male lead sect, the male lead descended to earth, and was destroyed by the villain. She choked on cola because of this bizarre ending. Can you tell me who doesn't choke? Ruan Xingzhu supported his forehead. Come on, before she could figure it out, there were a few more pitfalls in this world. First, check to see if you can find where Fengchu Mountain is. Don't tell her that Fengchu Mountain is a chance for the male lead, as no one else can find it. Result: after flipping through the entire book, only the beginning was of little use, while the rest were all about the legendary stories of the Phoenix clan. She's not interested in passing on legends, hey. She suddenly felt speechless and angry, didn't she? The mission was aborted. Ruan Xingzhu grabbed the weasel by the neck and picked it up. Do you know where Fengchu Mountain is? The weasel shook its head. Ruan Xingzhu's fist became hard. You're still a bookworm, you don't know anything. Weasel. Because I don't have those memories. The blue little fox felt extremely aggrieved. It had never been so aggrieved before when it was named Weasel. It cried out in a moment, and tears as big as beans rolled down its face. When it comes to a new generation of hosts, it will develop a brand new personality that is compatible with the host, retaining the obsession of the previous host, but without the memory of the previous one. It's equivalent to the moment when Ruan Xingzhu was bound to it and it was born. Apart from some basic things, there is also the phoenix's obsession that it really doesn't know anything. It's still a baby. Ruan Xingzhu lowered his eyes. Do you really know nothing? After a few breaths, she looked up and saw it crying endlessly. Ruan Xingzhu despised it. Why cry? It's annoying. Just throw it back to Shanghai. Now it's much quieter. AI, as expected, she is not suitable for raising animals. When leaving the secret scripts pavilion, she pushed the bamboo branch against the gatekeeper's neck again, took out the jade pendant, squinted her eyes, and said, "Tell me from the facts, what is this?" "Humph, otherwise he will definitely play tricks, don't think she doesn't know." The boy was surrounded by that fear again, wanting to cry without tears, so he had to confess from the facts. This is the Xiao Zhu Ling. Seeing the Xiao Zhu Ling is like seeing an elder, and each elder has a piece. Your piece belongs to Elder Mu, with a label in the lower right corner. Ruan Xingzhu touched her chin, fearing that Bai Yuan might be bullied when she first arrived. She raised the wooden sign and looked carefully, and indeed there was a wood in the lower right corner. Whitebeard, who was far away in another mountain, sneezed. If he knew, he would definitely argue. No, I'm afraid they might collide with you and you might start killing. The next day, Mao hour. The sky was slightly bright, most of it was still dark, and it was silent. Bang 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 bang. Ruan Xingzhu covered his head with a blanket. Who is making so much noise in the morning? Bang 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 bang. At the same time, it is accompanied by a cool and crisp voice that sounds like a gurgling stream. Junior sister, we should go to class now. AI, it's a tool person. We need to leave a good impression to facilitate abduction. Ruan Xingzhu forced a smile and opened the door. Why did you suddenly call me junior sister? What school? Musifeng's face remained expressionless as he said, today we start practicing. Of course, the girl can take on the responsibility of being a junior sister. All disciples of the sect have to go to school from Monday to Friday, and from morning to evening. Ruan Xingzhu's eyes darkened, and for a moment he almost thought he had returned to the time when modern photos were taken from 5 to 9. Let's go. Ruan Xingzhu grabbed Musifeng's clothes on his sword, feeling like he was about to be blown away by the wind at any moment. By Chao Yuan. Ruan Xingzhu stepped on the ground and felt his soul turn. He started to vomit while picking up the nearby tree. Before he could recover, he was grabbed by Musifeng's collar and climbed up the mountain. There were several schools, and Musifeng pulled her into the one closest to the forest. Musifeng bowed respectfully outside the door and said, "See you, master." The master squinted at them and waved, "Come in, come in." Ruan Xingzhu followed Musifeng straight to the last row. In the back row, I saw a table with the three big characters "illegitimate child" carved crookedly by someone. The table pocket was full of garbage, and there was ink on the bench. Ruan Xingzhu was about to get angry on the spot. But Musifeng's face remained unchanged as he took out a handkerchief from his sleeve, wiped the stool, and sat down. "It looks like it's been taken for granted for a long time." Ruan Xingzhu. "I can tolerate it." She fiercely scanned the people in the school and pulled open the stool next to him to sit down. Creak. The stool was broken, and just as she was about to fall onto the debris, she was grabbed by Musifeng's arm and pulled up. "Master, this stool is broken." "Let's replace it with another one," said Musifeng with a calm expression. Ruan Xingzhu has a phoenix bloodline and amazing hearing, which was evident yesterday when he was in the secret scripts pavilion. She heard clearly that they were saying, "Yo, this is Elder Mu's newly recognized illegitimate daughter, as ugly as rumored. Surprisingly, it's so shabby. I don't even have a magic weapon, not even a headdress. It must be very poor in this mortal world." Ruan Xingzhu stood with a protruding forehead. In the later stage of Musifengdu Diamond, she immediately broke through the great perfection. She didn't believe that he couldn't hear these comments. Even with such great hostility towards her who just arrived, let alone towards Musifeng, that table is evidence. She said coldly, "I didn't expect it to be considered a sect at least. You all came in after being tested, and your thoughts are so malicious." She didn't say much and simply slapped the young master's order onto the table. She already knew yesterday that seeing this jade pendant was like seeing an elder. Ruan Xingzhu sneered, "Why, are you chasing after the situation so hard? Don't you bow to me when you see the young master's order? Have you the courage to spread rumors and cause trouble behind your back? Have you the courage to make those little moves in the dark, and don't you have the courage to bow when you see the elder's order?" As things gradually became uncontrollable, the master on stage knocked on the table. The master watched as he was furious. Why, this illegitimate daughter just came in and didn't take him seriously. Nonsense, this is still in school. What do you want to do? Even Musifeng held her hand and gave up his seat. Master, she just arrived, please bear with her. He turned to her and said, "Calm down, you can sit here for now." Ruan Xingzhu shook off his hand and said, "I don't care if you don't want to cause trouble for Whitebeard or how you endure this cowardly anger. I can't bear it." She crushed the young master's order, flipped her hands, and directly left a bamboo branch and right a bamboo branch. She threw the bamboo branch on her right hand directly at Musifeng's head and trapped him. Really, one pig teammate. Don't interfere with her affairs. She was alone, holding a bamboo branch in her left hand and stepping on the debris of the stool with one foot. Her long hair was tied up and fluttering, her face becoming even more ferocious, her eyes fierce, and her aura was completely open. The pressure of the Phoenix bloodline is not just a child's play, as all the students present fell from their seats and turned pale on their faces. The master's angry hands trembled as he picked up the ruler, wanting to teach him a lesson. Ruan Xingzhu threw a bamboo branch and directly rubbed the face of the master, inserting it into the blackboard. The master's face oozed blood, and then the bamboo branch grew wildly, trapping him in a pupae-like state. Master, everyone is foolish. Anyway, it doesn't matter what Ruan Xingzhu does. She didn't plan to learn from other male and female leads to pretend to be pigs, eat tigers, and hide herself. Why should she be bullied if she has this strength? Is it because of her evil face? Ruan Xingzhu swept over everyone present, everyone shaking. Ha, a bunch of grass buns. She extended two slender fingers, her upper body slightly forward, and the corner of her lips hooked, there are two options. One is for me to kill you now, and the other is for you to bow and apologize to me. The aura is fully open. The female goose has a wolf-like tiger momentum, waiting for her to grow up. Seeking collection, end of this chapter. Chapter 10. Inspiration. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Inspiration. With her wild style, no one would doubt what she said. The disciples of the school were all bronze cultivators, trembling with fear and kneeling directly on the spot. See you, junior uncle. For a moment, deafening and enlightening. God knows they never shout so loudly during their regular cultivation. Ruan Xingzhu squinted his eyes and cursed, a group of useless and unproductive little people. Don't let me discover any more of your tricks. Ruan Xingzhu deliberately paused and continued, satisfied to see them trembling. Also, don't bully Mu Zifeng anymore. Everyone nodded one after another, lacking any backbone. Jokes, if you want to have backbone, you'll just crack it. Someone secretly said, she's just an illegitimate daughter. What's her aura? Wait until I go to the next door of the school to find senior sister Yi. Ruan Xingzhu squinted at the words, but didn't say anything and let them go. With one push and another decline and 3 exhaustion, one day we will find an opportunity to deal with them. Get up now. A person on the street bent over and shook their body respectfully, handing her a new bench. Ruan Xingzhu is comfortable now, is that right? She withdrew her pressure. Then he raised his hand and removed the 2 bamboo branches that trapped him. Seeing the master's face on the stage turn blue and white, Ruan Xingzhu asked, what are you still hesitating about? Isn't it time for class? The master's face turned pale, and he dared not provoke Ruan Xingzhu. He could only silently suppress his temper and start teaching. Ruan Xingzhu ignored Mu Zifeng's condemning cold gaze and made a mischievous expression at him, pulling his hand under his eyelids. Wu Shi conveyed with her eyes. There are too many constraints in this world, why bother yourself and be yourself boldly? Mu Zifeng ignored her and her hair was getting angry. Ruan Xingzhu pouted. Cut. She twisted her head to the other side. Watching Mu Zifeng annoys me. Master. Our world is called Zuankangshan Road, which is divided into 7 types of spiritual roots. Gold, wood, water, fire, earth, ice, and thunder. They mainly rely on absorbing corresponding elements from the air for cultivation. The fewer spiritual roots, the purer the qualification, and the higher the talent. The cultivation levels, from low to high, are divided into 6 major stages. Bronze, Platinum, Diamond, King of Glory, Honor of Kings, and Ascension of the Way. Each major stage has 4 sub-stages. Front, Middle, Back, and Great Perfection. In this world, Warcraft is divided into 4 levels, from high to low. Heaven, Earth, Black, and Yellow. Each level is further divided into 3 levels. Low level, Intermediate, and High level. Weapons and techniques are divided into 4 levels from high to low. Heavenly, High, Medium, and Low. And the artifact is a rare occurrence in thousands of years, far exceeding all levels of existence. It can be said that its power cannot be measured by the level of a product. Ruan Xingzhu propped her chin and listened for a while, feeling like she had heard a lot. How to say, a bunch of things she knew when she came into this world. Ruan Xingzhu raised his hand. The master forced a smile and said, what's the problem with this disciple? Ruan Xingzhu said, please don't talk about these useless things. Can you tell me something useful? She yawned and was tired of listening. The master trembled with anger and tried to smile, okay. We can go to the secret scripts pavilion to read books and choose weapons. The 11th to 13th floors are all weapon repositories, while the rest are book repositories. However, only the first floor is open for free. If you want to enter other floors, you need identity permission. If you try to break through, you will receive an electric shock. The tallest building is the most confidential, and only disciples who have passed the secret realm assessment have the opportunity to obtain permission to go in and select a weapon. The more Ruan Xingzhu listens, the more things get off. TSK. Why are these all common knowledge of the sect? What is this master talking about? No wonder most of the rooms are made of bronze. She turned her head and glanced at Musifeng. Sitting upright, with his hands on the table, his handsome face expressionless, his eyes fixed on the podium, accompanied by the content of his intellectual decline, he appeared stunned. This talent and temperament, why do they look like a lady from a wealthy family, or those who are bullied? Ruan Xingzhu. She gritted her teeth, isn't she dumbfounded? She's just being bullied like a fool, isn't she? That table still has trash in its pockets. She slightly moved her nostrils and immediately covered her nose. This smell is quite strong. Someone threw the scallions in, right? Oh my goodness. What a pitiful little thing. Ruan Xingzhu carried a stool and leaned against Musifeng. Senior brother. Musifeng didn't even blink an eye. Ignoring her. Senior brother. Musifeng still didn't answer. Don't pay attention to her yet. Ruan Xingzhu threw 2 pieces of bamboo at him. Pop. Pop. 2 pieces of bamboo hit Musifeng's face one after another, but Musifeng remained motionless. Ruan Xingzhu. She took it, she really did. This Nima is a ninja turtle, right? No, he can't bear even the turtle. After class. Ruan Xingzhu was sleeping soundly on the table when a familiar and indulgent voice sounded. The uneducated ugly thing actually bullies his fellow disciples. Ruan Xingzhu looked up and saw Yi Linglan holding her chin high in front of her. Yi Linglan. How shameless of you to bully these newly recruited students. Ruan Xingzhu lowered his eyes, a thought slowly forming. The school I attended is very poor. Yi Linglan has indeed taken the bait. She won't let go of any woman who insults this woman who is close to Zifeng's brother. Of course, this school can't teach anything. Other inner disciples are studying in the central school, so only ugly things like you who are nothing are taught here. Ruan Xingzhu lazily stretched his waist and said, but your favorite brother Zifeng is also attending classes here. Yi Linglan sneered, brother Zifeng is different. It's not because Elder Mu lacks strength and prestige, and only has diamonds at an old age. Don't you know that none of his disciples are accepted? It's really because brother Zifeng has good qualifications that he can come to school. Ruan Xingzhu succeeded in using Clich AS, which made it clear. Ruan Xingzhu said, thank you. It is full of sincere gratitude. She doesn't want to stay in this rundown place for a second. Yi Linglan was originally here to cause trouble, but with a thank you, she was completely confused and couldn't remember what she was going to do. She felt embarrassed and rubbed her head, you're welcome, it's a small matter. Ruan Xingzhu took advantage of her confusion and grabbed the nearby wooden maple and walked outside. She spoke harshly, quails are naturally timid and eat with their necks down. They don't like to interact with each other in groups. Are you a quail? Although you have exceptional talent, you are a person with your head down. Surrounded by the forest, the shadows buried their figures, and the wind rustled the branches and leaves. The wind gently brushed against their cheeks, as if it had brought something, but it didn't seem to have brought anything. Ruan Xingzhu. Are you really willing to keep being a doormat? Just like being bullied by Yuan Yi and the others, being bullied by these little trash, even though they are not as good as you. Musifeng seemed to be hit by something in her heart and gently broke free from her hand. He said coldly, don't worry, junior sister. Whitebeard slowly caught up with them from behind. Elder Mu. Little disciple. Ruan Xingzhu looked up and saw Elder Mu, whom he had never seen since coming here. His gaze slightly shifted, and behind him was the teacher from that school. The master pointed at her arrogantly and said, It's just that she got into a big fight in class and disrupted the classroom order. Seeking collection, seeking recommended tickets. The female lead grew up in a bad environment, so she won't be a little white flower. This is more real, isn't it? Oh, I hope everyone will like it. End of this chapter.